I like it.
But no, it was yeah. So that 99 was a good year. I was like, right, yeah, I've arrived now. So I did the double. I won on the 600, and I won on the 250 the same year.
Manx, yeah.
That was it. I was like, right, here we go. So I'm going to think, right, TT now. Let's get on.
Let's have it. So 2000 was your first TT.
Yeah. So that was 2000 was my first TT proper. Now, because I'd done so well on the 250, and Blandy and Birdie were like, fuck me, who's this lad? Birdie wanted me to ride the production bike on your video, your VHS video. So, because again, that year the Blade wasn't a particularly good bike. The 954 was the first year they changed it. Again, the Fireblade, the R1 was still the bike to have. Mm-hmm. That was the bike to be on. And I remember that's why Joey jumped ship and went onto the SP1. Because he rode the Fireblade and went, this is not good enough. It's not an R1 beater. Yeah. I want something better. So that's why then Honda went, right, okay, let's bring in the Will Superbike SP1, and that's why Joey ended up riding it.
It's mad that a manufacturer would have like 2 eligible bikes at the same time. Yeah. It's weird as that, isn't it?
Yeah, it wouldn't happen now.
No, definitely not.
No way. It'd be like, sorry, son, you make that work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like even just for them to have as a model range, like 2 bikes that you could race in a production-based class.
Yeah, well, the SP1, I think I don't know. I think it was a case of like, I think they wanted to go away from the inline 4, and go to a twin. The big, like, because obviously the Ducati was the bike to Will Superbikes was the Ducati, wasn't it? So they were thinking, hang on, they're winning. We should like you do, don't you? Think, well, I want to be on the equal bike as my opposition. So I think they produced the Fireblade, but that's probably why I went off the Fireblade a little bit. And went, actually, let's put all our development money into the SP1. So that's probably why the Fireblade was a little bit weak that year.
Yeah.
You know, so... but I remember Roger Harvey at the time, bless him, he was the Honda manager. Roger's a mega lad. And Pete Jennings was my crew chief. Birdie said, look, you can ride me production bike.
Paul Bird. Birdie, yeah. Just for context, you know what I mean? No, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So... Because Martin Bullock had bought the bikes
from them
for the 250, Paul was obviously thinking, well, John doesn't want to ride. John's not going to ride the Fireblade. He was going to ride the SP1 as well. So it was like, we need someone to ride the production bike. Oh, just get that young lad. So they offered it to me. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll ride it. And then, of course, they wanted it publicity, number 1. So I said, I'll ride number 1. I always liked, because I'd won the Manx Grand Prix for number 1. I love number 1. Number 1, because again, we were talking earlier, because I'm not racing you, I'm racing the track. I want to have the clearest track. I don't want to try and chase someone. It's not like you where I'm trying to put a qualifier in and I need a gauge to brake. I know that I can get round fast. I knew that I could get round fast, so I was like,
you just wanted to be
the clearer the track for me, the better. I love number 1. If I went to go, I'd have number 1 all day long. Do you know what I mean? I love it because I'm racing the circuit. I'm not racing anybody else. So I knew, because again, you've just got to go as hard as you can, haven't you? So when you're someone else, when you're starting number 6 and you catch number 5, it ends up slowing you down. I always think. It's like, no.
And you're obviously more respectful around there. I'm sure,
100%. You can't just dive up the inside of somebody. So being number 1, you know you've got a clear road at least until you get your back markers, so you can just put the hammer down and get on it. Do you know what I mean? So they said, you're going to number 1. I said, yeah, that's what I want. I want number 1. That's me. I'm happy. So it was mega because I think I did 120 mile an hour in practice on it. And Roger come to me and says, fucking hell, what have you done to that? And I was like, I don't know, I'm just riding it. It's just mint. I says, I loved it. Do you know what I mean? Because I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
I'd been sat on a big factory. I'd been sat on a ZX9 the year before. So
hopping on this.
It was
a nice bike.
The next level up, wasn't it? So it was mint and it just gelled with me nicely. I loved it. And so then that was that. And then obviously we had the bad weather that year in that race, that wet weather race in 99. And they delayed us again. When we were talking about delays, they were just delaying us every half an hour. Oh, we'll give it half an hour, see if it clears. Half an hour, no, three quarters of an hour. So we literally were supposed to start at 10 o'clock in the morning. We didn't race till 7 o'clock at night.
Jesus. And
it'd been literally all day. And they reduced it down from a 4-lapper down to a 2-lapper. It was just literally a 2-lap dash. That's all it was. Started number 1. Didn't see anybody the whole race. Just got on it, rode it like you would do in the wet. Just upright, short shifted it, just flat out everywhere. It was mega. And then I was just watching my pit boards and I was like, P2. I was like, fucking hell, P2. And obviously it was, yeah, I just...
Who won?
DJ won it.
Yeah.
DJ won it. I was second and Michael Watt was third.
Yeah,
that's some podium.
That is some
podium.
I know at the time.
I should probably know that from the video. That was young.
At the time, though, it was amazing because Michael had just won, I think, 96 or something. He'd won the World Superbike suddenly at Brands Hatch in the wet. So he was the Rainmeister. That's why Michael's always known as the Rainmeister, wasn't it? And I was thinking, just beat the Rainmeister. Beat the Rainmeister. So that was, for me, yes, I'd done the Manx, the double at the Manx the year before, broke lap records in all the classes. But to finish second at my
on your first ever
TT was like, that was the dream.
Unreal.
That was the dream. It was like, oh yes, I'm in heaven. That was. But I still wanted to get that top spot's where you're, what you always want in it. It's like, so that was that. So that was 2000. So it comes to 2001. I was like, right,
I'm winning one. Yeah,
and that year, Mark Johns, an ex-TT rider racer as well, mega fast. I think he finished fourth in a TT in the 80s. Mega fast man. And he sponsored Brian Gardner at the time. So he says, "Look, I want you to ride my Superbike." I was like, "Yeah, I'll ride it." Like we were just saying before again. Yeah, you do. Yeah, I'll ride it. So I says, "Right, yeah, we'll do it." So, but 2001 was the year with foot and mouth, and obviously foot and mouth came along. No racing, was there?
Yeah.
So it was a bit like it was like COVID. Everything shut down. You couldn't do anything. You couldn't travel and all this, that, and the other. So I was doing MRO, the short circuit championship. So I'd do MRO, which was the next level down from Bernie and Dave Stewart.
Yes, Bernadette.
He used to run Thunder.
Yes,
Thunder.
It used to be called MRO.
Yes, before it was Bemsey, and then they went the separate ways.
Yeah. So that was a real good championship, real competitive championship to be in. It was the one that I could afford to do effectively as well, because ultimately my goal was always the roads. I wasn't to be BSB champion. It was always to be TT champion. That was my goal. So it was still a competitive scene. I thought, yeah, we'll get on it. So we did that season, and then obviously foot and mouth came. They cancelled the TT.
Oh, jeez, COVID and foot and mouth for the only reason. And the war. Yeah, the war stopped the TT, didn't it?
There was a fuel thing one year as well in the 70s, I think, wasn't there? I'm not that up on the TT history.
Then. Yeah. So
there was a fuel thing.
He's been a part of the TT too, so that's quite the claim. There you go.
So so it comes to 2000. 2001, RC45, and Johnsy had spent a fortune on. Each motor was like 20 grand because he'd bored and stroked it. So it wasn't a 750, it was an 890.
Right.
So it was a weapon. It was a proper weapon. But the trouble was, in 2001, the K1 Suzuki came out, which was the next leap up from the R1, was up then to the 1000 Suzuki. They were.
Yeah. You can't beat TCs.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how the engineering works. You can't beat ponies in the stable. You just can't.
That 1000 K motors. It's still a Bonnie, but it's still a fast bike now. Do you know what I mean? It's still a super mega torquey engine. Gives you loads of grunt. It's mega fast. So that was the bike to beat. So there was no TT. I was like, oh shit. So I did the MRO to keep my hand in, and then it came then to the Ulster Grand Prix. So I'd never done the Ulster. I was like, yeah, let's do the Ulster. So,
because they had classic bikes at the Ulster because of foot and mouth. I remember that. All the racing just combined in.
Yeah, the Ulster literally was the only road race that they had in the year.
Right.
I remember that. Jesus, went by me. Father was there on a G50. I was like, that's the last time I had classic bikes there. Yeah. Well, obviously, because everything just combined. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so that was it. Went to the Ulster, and lucky enough, I was fortunate enough to win the race on the RC45. Yeah, there was me. Who was battling for the win? There was me, Gary Jess, bless him, that was killed the following year at the Ulster. Bruce Anstey, and
that's a clip.
And Seamus Green, poor old Seamus, bless him.
You beat Bruce Anstey around the Ulster.
Yeah. So
that's massive.
But that and again, I was on the RC45. That was the thing. I was on a 1993 RC45, a 94 RC45. And everyone else was on 1000 Suzukis. Yeah. Which the RC45 could just about keep in the slipstream of them. I mean, I couldn't pass him, but she was there, but she was just a heavy chassis. You know what I mean? It was just a heavy, lardy chassis. So, but yeah, so that was 2001. So I was like, right, And that was it. I like that because that proved that I wasn't just a one-trick pony. I could
could go to another race and
get on it. So I was like, right, that'll do me. So then that brings us on to 2002, which was my winning year, obviously at the TT. So
I'm still amazed you beat Bruce Anstey around the Ulster, mate. Honestly, I am sitting here absolutely got, mate. I would have that on my gravestone. Won a TT, big letters underneath. I beat Bruce Anstey around the Ulster.
Man's amazing. Isn't he?
That's what, mate. And you beat him.
I know.
And that was tonight's episode. Just stop it there, mate. He wanted to, you know what I mean? Carry on. Yeah. Sorry, that is.
So 2002 come along, and I was like, right. So we had the RC45 again. And I didn't have a production bike, so I said to Johnsy, "Look, mate," I says, because in those days at the TT, you had big bike qualifying, and little bike qualifying, and sidecars. They're all the same length, which was crazy because your big bike's the one that needs the setup. Your little 125s and 250s, you would only do one lap on it because you didn't want to put miles on the crank and stuff. Yeah. So, but they had the same amount of practice time. It was crazy. Whereas at least now, your big bike takes priority over your practice times because they're the biggest handful. They're the ones that take the setup, and so that was my key problem, was that I need to concentrate on setting the RC45 up for the TT and hopefully winning that. I wanted to win the TT on that RC45. That's what I wanted. So even though she was an old girl, but she was 890. She was again.
Cable.
Mega trick thing. It was like an RC45. They were Aaron Slater won the World Superbikes on them. They were still a fairly competitive bike. So I thought, I can do this. So I said to Johnsy, I said, I'm not going to get a production bike this year, even though I'd had a good runs on production bikes, and that was probably my best chance of winning would have been on the production bike. I said, no, I'm going to concentrate on your bike because you put hundreds of thousands of pounds into it. I'm going to give you 100% attention. So that was that. So we go to the Northwest with the RC45. First night of practice, Tuesday night, because it used to be Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Goes Tuesday, first night of practice, going down towards university. This RC45 going like a train. And I could see a fella waving, just before that right kink before you get to university. And I'm thinking, I'm just sat there like you do at the Norfolk, because it's crazy. You're doing 200 mile an hour almost. You're flat out and you're just waiting for the next corner. You just sat there, aren't you? Just like, come on, where's the next corner? Yeah. Like... Where's the next corner? Where is she? So I'm sat there, I see this fella waving. I'm thinking, he must be from the Isle of Man. So I'm thinking, I'm just like about to lift my fingers off the handlebars to
give him a wave.
Yeah, give him a wave, thinking he might know me. So that was that. So then it carries on round. It gets round by the coast road. As I'm picking the throttle up, she's like, and then going out. I was like, that's a bit strange because the fuel injection system, the early Honda fuel injection system was pretty snatchy anyway. It wasn't smooth like it is now. It was a bit steppy, but I'm thinking that doesn't feel right. It doesn't normally feel like that. So I'm carrying on, comes back out of York again, back up through, down towards university again. And then this lap, he was like this. And
he really knows me.
I did. I thought me must be my uncle or something. Do you know what I mean? It's like, he really knows me. Next thing is, boom, the thing just explodes, literally just rods itself. And he was, because it was smoking, you see. Right. He was telling me it was smoking, but I'm like, he must know me. McFly.
Flying through the air.
So the thing rods itself, literally, the thing just ate itself completely. Just fucking oil up inside the leathers, all inside my helmet, all oil on me fucking bollocks and everything. So red hot, do you know what I mean? Burning hot oil. So it tries to overshoots into university, stops it, gets at it. The thing's just drenched in oil. It's like, that's that one done. But luckily enough, we had Hurricane 1 and Hurricane 2. That's what Johnsy named them. He had little names for them. Hurricane 1 and Hurricane 2. So we had Hurricane 2.
Because they're bringing disaster of oil spills.
Yeah. But the thing is, I'd run the whole season, that previous season.
No problem.
She missed a beat. She was mint. Honestly, she was mint. Dead happy with it. Loved it. Never crashed it or anything. The whole year, the whole season, never crashed it. I was like, it's just one of those bikes, So
first time ever Hurricane 2 gets pulled out.
Yeah, well, no, we'd already used Hurricane to just keep the mileages off and stuff. So we pulled Hurricane 2 out Thursday night. Poof, same again. Fucking rods itself again. Whoa, what's happened here? And Tony Scott, bless him, he was the engine builder, and Scotty had put loads of time and effort into it as well. Between Johnsy and Tony, they'd spent loads of money, loads of time, and for that we had 2 smashed engines, but we had other two spare motors, or one spare motor. So the Northwest and the TT, there was enough time between the two to hopefully get them back, to get them rebuilt. So I goes back home after that disaster, and I'm thinking, I put all my eggs into one basket here. I can't just rely on the RC45 to be sudden, because we were all head scratching. You know the Northwest, when the airbox pressurizes and it doesn't dump and it builds up crankcase pressure, we're thinking, oh, maybe it's the non-return valve in the back of the airbox isn't, so we're all like, we didn't know what had gone on. I thought, that's just too risky. I need to get another motorbike here.
Yeah.
So I literally went into Padgett's, and the other man, Clive got me out of the stoop again. I goes and knocks on the door, and there's a lad called Steve there. Steve, I can't think of his second name. Anyway, he's an old ex-racer as well. So I says, you've got a Suzuki in the window. How much? What's the best deal you'll do on it for me? And he goes, you shouldn't have to buy one, Milky. He says, I'll give Clive a ring. So sure enough, I shoots off. Half an hour later, he rings me. He says, come and get this motorbike. I was like, well, how much is it? He says, oh, nothing. He says, Clive's going to give it to you. Just on a, you can write a sponsorship. It's yours. But obviously just after the event.
Yeah.
Give it back.
Yeah. I was like, you're joking? He said, no. He says, just come and get it. So that was it then. So I literally had a week between the TT, the Northwest, and the TT. So I was working that time as well, because obviously I had a week off for the Northwest, so I had to go back to work before they go back to the TT again. So goes back to work. So I couldn't work during the day. So my mate Wally Neal, he was running in during the day. So he was riding around the TT course, and then I'd finish work and then ride it around the back at night.
So this was like a 1,000cc Prix.
Yeah, K1 Suzuki. Yeah, literally K1 Suzuki, straight out of Padgett's showroom. So it was like, again, I didn't want to give up completely on the RC45. I still didn't want to give up on it. It was a good project. I believed in it. We all believed in it, but I just needed something that if the shit hit the fan, I had a bike to ride.
Yeah.
So sure enough, goes out. I think it was the Tuesday night of practice, coming to Blaff, through Ballacob, flat, full stick, rods itself again. Massive one, get big clutch in, up the pavement, back down the pavement again. Then I'm thinking, here comes Blaff Bridge, trying to slow, and I'm on the brakes, and I'm thinking, all that oil's in the belly pants going to the front wheel, and I'm like, all this thing's going through my mind. I'm thinking, the bridge is getting closer. So I just managed to stop it, gets off it. I was like, fucking hell, survived that one again. Do you know what I mean? That's another one I survived. Third time.
Yeah.
This is getting bad now.
Yeah, I'm over this.
Well, I was starting to get that way. I was losing faith in it. Bearing in the fact that I'd won the Ulster Grand Prix on it the
year before,
6 months earlier. Do you know what I mean? So it was. I still, I didn't want to give up on it just yet. So again, I needed to get back on the other bikes. Because again, I had the 400, I had the 600, I had 250.
Bobby the tranny came back.
Yeah, that's Bobby the tranny. He wasn't there. No, it was a fellow called Dave Sells, another racer, who lives at Blaff. He was in the pub, so runs in the pub, gets across the road, runs in the pub. I says, "Anyone take me back to Douglas?" And Dave's there with a pint. He's like, "Yeah, I'll take you." He says, "Come on, jump." So he jumps in his car, and we're going up the Narrowdale Road and up back of Blaff Glen, flat out like Colin McRae in his rally car. So he gets back out to get some of the other bikes qualified. So still, because again, that's the thing, when you've got multiple bikes. In the old days, you had multiple bikes to try and qualify. It was mental.
I find it mad the getting back thing. Just find it mental. I know. It blew my mind when I say your dad was like, "I'll have to try and go and get him in a van or something."
But the mad thing is, you break it down and you're like, say you have a 6-lap session, you'd be lucky to get another one.
Yeah.
If you break down the far side of the island, because obviously you've got to go the mountain road or everything like that, and that's half an hour, up to an hour. And by the time you get back, and then funny enough, it's Milky at the gate going, "Not a chance." No. But in the same breath, if there's a slimmer hope, you are the first man to go.
I'll leave it to the last second.
More importantly, you actually find your team, like the team, Piggy. You know what I mean? Go to Piggy and go, right here. Look, he's got 5. Like if he's back in 5 minutes, have that by the gate.
Have it sitting.
Honestly, I've hopped on bikes when the red bib travelling marshal is going to shut the door, and you're in front.
Yeah.
Off you go, mate. It's That is a road to yourself.
We'll try to get everybody out as best we can, but obviously once it goes past our road closing time, no matter whether you're John McGuinness, Michael Dunlop,
that's it.
We can't let you go. That's the cut off time. And that's it.
100%.
You've got to adhere to it. So,
and like you say, trying to get back and you're jumping over the road, trying to get you. It's everyone in the transit. Can you get me back?
I always say to all the lads, look, beg, steal, and borrow, because some. They do. They'll give you bikes, motorbikes. I mean, Dean Harrison. Last year, I was in the Holden area, and I've got the radio's going mental. Milky, there's some bloke coming through on a road bike. I'm like, hang on, what the fuck's going on here? So I looks around, and then this bloke comes in a BMW with Dean Harrison sat on the back smiling like he always does. And it's like his bike had broken down. He jumped on the back of this punter's bike. Well, actually, Dean was riding it.
That was right.
On the back.
He must have been
mate, on the back road as well.
Yeah, and they got back in. Because that's the worst thing. You can go out on a big long session, break down your clutch goes up the Ballahutchin on the first lap. It's pointless just sat on the hedge. You have to do whatever you can to get back on your other bike. So that's so. If you've only got one bike, then fair enough. But when you've got 3 or 4 bikes, you need to get practice time. You don't want to be sat there.
The video that Lee Johnson put on of him in a petrol station, he borrowed a bike off someone. It was running out of petrol. He had no money, and he's like, "I'll come back and I'll come back later on and pay you." And they're like, and there's some woman paying for him. For his petrol. It was mint.
One of my favourite ones is when they cameraed up Hutchie on the Swan Yamaha, and he went for miles, didn't he? Miles and miles on this back road, and they came up with this thing on ITV like Hutchie Watch, and he just rode round all these green lanes on an R1, just trying to get back to the back. He had a clue where he was going. It was class.
Obviously, there's certain places that if you break down, you're buggered. You can't get the bike back. You've
I suppose if you're on the outside of the circuit,
or the inside, if you're on the inside of the circuit, you can't cross the road.
Yeah, you have to go under the bridges and all sorts of things, and
under waterways.
So you couldn't even get to.
On a red flag, obviously you could physically cross the road at that point. You know what I mean?
But you could walk over the bridge, couldn't you? You wouldn't get your bike back.
But if you're stuck on the inside, if
you ever break down, always get to the outside of the track.
Because you can go around
or buy a pub.
Yeah.
Solid. That's Dom advice right there. That's it. There we go. So anyway, you're getting back.
So he gets back out again. So that was that. So then I was getting the other bikes qualified, and I think I did like 2 laps on the stocker just to put it in the bag, just so I had me 2, because in those days you just had to do 2 qualifying laps. Right. So I was like, right, just get them. So I boxed that off. So I was still qualified. So I thought at least I could ride the stocker in the Superbike race if I had to. If the RC30 didn't work. So that was that. So then it comes to Friday. So Johnsy again, poor old Hurricane 2 came out with the other engine. He had got this other engine made, put in there. So gets out Friday, first lap of the session, comes round Black Hut, just driving through back to 5th gear, through the Black Hut, through the hole, back on the throttle, just shits itself again, clutching, out to the wall, literally millimetres, skimming the wall, just turned all the way around, got to the veranda where Connor crashed, pulls in there, again, jumps on the right-hand side of the track, on the Snaefell side, because I knew that, again, being having the local knowledge, I knew that I could get to Brandywell or Faulty Will Road.
Yeah.
So I jumped over on the Snaefell side. So I just, at that time,
poor
old Johnsy, it spent hundreds of thousands of pounds on me, but I had to just give up on it because I just thought this thing's going to kill me.
Yeah.
This is,
something's not right.
I've tried my best.
It's getting dangerous now.
Yeah, I'm just going to have to park it. So that was it. Parks that. So I thought my problem was then is I'd been given a 400 that year that Ryan Farquhar refused to ride because it was a nail, and he was riding for McAdoo, and McAdoo obviously was
religious family, very religious.
Yeah. But we spent hundreds of thousands of pounds, again, millions of pounds probably in his racing days.
Yeah.
But he was Kawasaki, you see, so he bought Ryan a ZXR 400. So I knew this 400 Honda was going spare. It was John Turner's and John Shand and not Paul Turner. Jeez, my memory's gone. Too many bangs on the head. Anyway, it was a local lad and John Shand from New Zealand.
Right.
And they bought this 400 from Japan the year before to ride at the TT. So, but Ryan didn't want to ride it, so I knew he was going spare. So I said, I'd never ridden a 400 before, like since my 400 days, but I just wanted another ride on the TT course. So I was like, yeah, I'll ride it. So, but the trouble is, I'd done one lap the first morning practice we went out. I'd done one lap on it, and so I need to do another one to qualify. But I needed to get back then to the grandstand
to qualify
it. So, but I literally had that last session, but because it was the little bike, I was the second session, so I knew that I had time. I could run through the end of the big bike session and then run through half of the little bike session and then still get back out on it. So I had a bit of time. I probably had an hour and a half to get back. So I thought, right, I need to run to the bungalow. I thought, I'll get to the bungalow. I can then hopefully go down the Tholty Road. They'll let me cross the road, hopefully at Sulby, and I can get back round that way. That's what I instantly thought to start with. So I'm running with my leathers on, covered in oil still from the thing rodding itself again. I gets to Graham's Memorial Bungalow Bridge, right? Gets there, there's a fellow with a mountain bike. I says, mate, can I borrow your mountain bike? And he's like, fuck it off. I was like, oh, I know, obviously I can't. So, because I was going to cycle down the railway tracks, I thought I'll get to the bungalow, cycle down the railway tracks, get to Laxey and then come back that way. So that didn't work. So I runs then to the bungalow. So gets to the bungalow. I'm covered in mud, running through all the bogs and stuff. So it gets there. So I thought, right, my next plan now is to get to Brandywell, because I knew from Brandywell you can get down through the Ingerbeck Road, literally to Greenfield Road, which is literally right opposite the start line. I thought I can get there if someone will give me a lift. So I thought, right, I need to get to Brandywell. So I'm running up, and you can see it, can't you? You can see from Bungalow, you can see the Brandywell Road. It's not that far. It doesn't look that far, but when you're trying to run it,
in leathers covered.
Yeah. So I'm running, and the next thing is I hear some motocross bikes come towards me. Two lads on motocross bikes. I thought, oh, get in there. There's a guard.
I'm going to judo chop one of these off the bike and get back.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to beg, steal, borrow, but they'd obviously, some bloke had been watching with binoculars, seen me run up, and obviously heard on the radio and told some bloke. So they'd farted the motocross bikes up to come down and get me.
Ah, right.
So I get like quarter of the way up, and they got the motocross bikes down to me. So I'm like, so the fella's like, just go. So I thought, brilliant, I can get the motocross bike all the way back to the grandstand. You can come and collect it, job done. Because that's what people do. They throw your keys at your cars, everything at you. So I jumped on this motocross bike. I get going for about 600-700 yards, and there was like this green bit that I thought was just like a green field. It was just a bog. I literally just went third gear, straight into it, over the handlebars, fucking head first into the bog. Honestly, covered literally from head to toe in mud.
Shit.
I had bruises on me quads here, literally handlebar bruises where I'd fucking hit the handlebars and gone straight over. Proper spanning myself. I was like, whoa. So I'm like, I'm not giving up on this. So I'm trying to drag the bike out because the lads were back down there. So I'm just like, sorry, I can't get it out. I literally was buried. The front wheel was buried. I thought, I can't dig this out of me. I'm going to take me half a night to pull out of the bog. So I literally just carried on running, ran to the top of the bungalow road, fell there in a car. He says, I'll take you back to the grandstand. Jumped in the car.
I'm not letting you drive.
Yeah, well, that's it. I was literally...
Just saw what you did in that crosser.
So on the Wednesday, I was covered Dave Sell's bloody car in oil and seat with oil, and now this car covered in cow shit and muck. So he took me up back to to Greenfield Road. I ran straight across the road, got all the shit, bottle of water, all the shit off me, changed my gloves on the 400. My team was there with the bike, jumped on the 400, went out, qualified it. Next day, won the race. Oh, thank you very much.
There you go.
Yeah, that was it.
What a story! I love that.
That was my thing for that year. That's what for me. Yes, it was amazing winning that 400 race, but people didn't realise what went on behind the background to even get there. To get there. And again, I'd only done 2 laps, and I'd only ridden it for 2 laps. I rode it at Derby to make sure. I had to change the fork oil and fork springs because it was like soft as everything. Yeah. I did that, and then those 2 laps, and then I won the race on it. It was
unbelievable.
Like, yeah, get in there. But before that though, I won the race on the Monday, so this was the Friday. So then the next day I had the Superbike race, the Formula 1 or whatever it was. So the Formula 1 as it was then. So I had no RC45 because I still had this scenario going on in my head. I said to Johnsy, mate, I can't ride it. So poor old Johnsy went off home in a huff, like obviously pissed off that I had no
Pit
bike to
old,
ride.
he's trying to kill you.
Yeah,
piss
yeah,
off,
yeah, I
piss
know,
off
yeah,
is-
but
I know what you mean.
I was trying my best for the lad, and you know, he put a lot of money into me and faith and stuff into me, and I felt a bit disappointed that I hadn't, because I'd honestly thought that I could do a real good job on that. I did honestly after that Ulster. I thought I can still do this. I can still bosh this. So that was that. So then it came to the Saturday. So I thought I'm gonna have to ride the Stocker. So bearing in mind this bike again from Padgett's that Clive had lent me, that I could have smashed into Quarterbridge on the first night and wrote it off. I thought, right, again, I'd only done 2 laps on it. I thought, right, I've got to bosh this off. I've got to get this going. So what number did I start that year? Started 19 or something. Started 19, finished 6th or something on a Stocker.
On a Stocker.
And that was on the Superbike race. So that was good. That was amazing. It was a mega it was. I was made up with that. Did 122 mile an hour or something on it, which at that time was quick.
That was good, yeah.
It was quick, yeah. So then on the Monday was my 400 race in the morning. So that was it. I was like, right, this thing's getting it. This thing is getting it. Do you know what I mean? Because I was top of leaderboard. Even on those 2 laps I'd done, I was still top of leaderboard, you know. And I remember McGuinness was behind me. I started 4, John started 5. And John's like, I'm going to have you. I was like, ooh, yeah, whatever.
Is this for the production race?
No, this is for the 400 race.
Yeah. Right,
yeah.
okay.
So I always remember John saying to me, he says, I hit Quarterbridge as hard as I hit Redgate. You know, he says, I don't. Whereas I fannied through Quarterbridge. I was always shit through Quarterbridge. Because I'd see it every day of the week. I'd see it when it's worse, when it's slippy and oily and shit. And I low-sided a YZ250 underneath a car there one year.
Yeah, that would be in the end.
Yeah. So I ended up making up under the sump of the car, going, oh, this isn't good. So I've always been cautious of Quarterbridge. And everyone always says, take Quarterbridge steady. It is, your first lap, you've got a full tank of fuel, cold tyres, you're not up to speed, you've had no warm-up lap. I mean, that's the most freakiest thing with the TT is the fact that you have not got an out lap, you've not got a warm-up lap, you literally go from nothing
200 and...
That's the best bit.
Yeah.
That's the best bloody bit. That's the rawness of it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, but that's it. Just your mind just can't comprehend it. The oil in the forks is like treacle, and it's not warmed up or anything, and the bike's just loose and wandering. So, that first, I always say, up to Union Mills, that's your warm up lap. That is your warm up lap for everybody. Do you know what I mean? Whereas John would just go. That was in John's mega winning era. From 2005 through to 2011-12, he broke everyone on that first lap. That first lap, the way he demolished them, and he just nailed Quarterbridge on the first lap. In. Whereas I couldn't do that. I could never. So this is going through my mind. He's going to me like,
I'm gonna have you.
Yeah. I nail like I do Redgate, and this is going through my mind thinking, he's gonna. And he was on a Ricky Leddy RLR 400, but I was on the CBR and he was on the VFR.
Right.
So I knew that. To get the best out of the VFRs with those cam-driven gears, you can't bring the compression down, can you, without having the trick gears and all that? So I didn't know how quick my bike was, to be fair, because I'd not ridden it enough. It was new to me. I just thought, I'm just going to get this thing on. So I knew I was on a good pace because I passed Nick Jeffries going into Ramsey, and he started 2 or something like that. And I thought the first lap, because... Nick's good goer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Good lad. So I thought I'd already caught 20 seconds on him. Thought, I'm having this. So then did that. Then I can't remember who started one. The lad who won it, the New Zealand lad, Paul Jones, was it? Jones, or there was a lad that won it the year previous.
Yeah,
New Zealand lad.
Yeah.
Real. Oh jeez, I can't think. Anyway, he started number 1, and I caught past him on the road. I was like, right, yeah.
We're honest.
Yeah, and obviously you go from your pit bulls, don't you? So you just, even though you're catching people, you can still be passing people, but you can still be running in 4th position. Do you know what I mean?
You're playing the game with everyone else.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You're like...
Yeah. So you literally at the TT, you just literally ride from your pit bull to your pit bull to your pit bull. That's all I ever did. I never would think about trying to catch you. It'd be like, literally, I'm just waiting for my pit bull. Where's my pit bull? Yep, okay, yep. I'm going good. And next one, push on to the next one, push on to the next one. I always had them 3 all the way down I had 3 on the circuit, and literally go from 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's all I'd be doing, just looking at the pit board. So so that was that. So I won the race. On the 400. I pretty much cakewalked it. To be fair, it was like yeah, it was
John.
yeah. Well, again, John wasn't probably on the best bike. I don't think.
Don't make excuses for John McGuinness. No. You did him. You did him. Well done. Sod that.
Yeah. And there was Richard Britton as well. Yeah, Richard Britton finished second, I think. Richard Britton finished second. Who was third? Oh.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You were number one. It does not matter. Let's not talk about that. This is your moment.
But again, the thing was, so I won the race, and the Superstock race was the next race afterwards. So bearing in mind, I'd just done 122 on a stocker in the Superbike race.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I can win this. I can have this. I can literally. I'm having the stocker race, even though DJ was the man to beat on the stocker.
Yeah.
I thought I'm gonna, because he was only just done 123 or something. So I thought, I'm in the ballpark here. I'm literally in the ballpark. So, I finished the Supersport race on the 400, and again, Dom will tell you, your bikes always go for scrutineering. So they go for scrutineering. They have an engine strip, and then they release them, and then the race is awarded and all that. Yeah. So I goes into the thing, does a podium, spray the champagne, all that business. Can't believe I've won a TT. It's me life's dream. Done that. Gets the scrutineers. The scrutineers like, you need to strip that bike, and I'm like, yeah, but mate, I'm out on the next race, and they're like, we need this bike stripping. I'm like, fucking hell, just hang on, and they're like, well, in the previous history of people have run 600 motors in the 400s, they're like, we're not. So I said, look, boys, I'm in the next race. Just please, just let me strip it after I've done the production race. And they were like, right, okay. So he leaves it in the garage. So that was it. So next thing, down, got changed, shower, out, leathers back on again for the production race. So I thought, right, I'm in a good spot here. I'm going to give this a good row. I think I started number 11 or something. I thought, right, I'm on this. So the first lap was all right. I was in a good spot, and start of the race was good. Going down Sulby Straight, and I'm just sat there in Sulby Straight, like I was saying earlier before, just sat there, just waiting for the next corner. And I'm like, fuck me, I've won one. Oh, I've won a TT.
You're thinking about the previous race rather than...
And then I comes to my breaking point at the end of Sulby Straight. Again, bearing in mind, I just jumped off a little 400 onto the 1000. I braked pretty much where I did on the 400 and went, uh-oh, this isn't going to be good. So I'm like that. I had it on its nose, literally, into Sulby Bridge. I just stopped it before it went off the lip into the field.
Yeah,
stops
that's
it.
a sudden drop, by the way. Yeah. It's like a big drop.
Yeah. So I stops it. By the time I did it comes back, tries to go again, no lock, comes back again, rushing to no lock again. So it does like a 5-point turn. I sets off, and then Bruce Anstey just comes out in front of me. And I was like, fuck. So I was there with him, and I stayed with him for the rest of the race. And no stuff, but I could have passed him, but
no,
I didn't want to. My race was done, and I thought, you know what, I'm not going to spoil his race.
Yeah,
I'm that's
the second you ran on.
Yeah. That's what I think. Lots of lads, when they come from the short sector back and come to the TT, they don't realise that it's not. You're not battling against number 27 and 28. You're battling against the circuit. So if 28 catches number 27, he's got 10 seconds on you, so you should always try.
He's got momentum.
Yeah. You try and follow him, he'll bring you around quicker. But some people get embroiled in a dogfight then, and a bit like a short circuit. And like, oh, no, I'm not giving any way, and then you end up both going slower, and then you drop in positions. So
sometimes that can backfire because if they have a mechanical, like you've got to predict it so well, haven't you? You're like, they're breaking down, and then you've got to go. Or sometimes it doesn't, but you know what I mean. It's difficult.
I mean, that's the. I hated following someone around the TT because because you're so unsighted. You're so fast.
I don't like following people around shorter.
Yeah. When you need to be looking for a big ball corner, you need to have plenty of room to see it rather than just being sat here. So
look, and relying on what they're going to do.
100%. So that spoilt my production race. I was really pissed off. To be fair, I was like, fucking bastard. I was really annoyed with it. So that was that. So I thought, right, well, my next I had the 600 race, but my 600 wasn't the fastest. So I knew I was never going to win on that. So we got round, I think we finished 8th or 9th, I think, something like that. It was all right, good little finish. And then, so I thought, right, senior, that's the one, that's the one you want to win, is the senior anyway. You don't want to win the Formula 1 or Superbike. That's the first one, start of the week. The trophy's smaller. You want to win the senior. that everyone remembers that following for the whole year,
Yeah.
and that's the one with the big trophy. That's the one that I always dreamt of winning. That's the one I wanted to always win. Do you know what I mean? Even though I'd won one, I'd literally just won one that week. Again, the thing is like if you win the lottery, you know, you win £1 million on the lottery, you think, fucking hell, I could have won 5
Is that how you're funding this season?
Yeah.
Oh, we've already got one dog. Let's get another one. Jesus wept. I was wondering how this happened.
So you I think as a racer, you always want to do, you've done well, but you want to do better, don't you?
Yeah, of course.
That's why that's how we all exist, I think. So it was like, no, I need to win the seniors one I wanted. So yeah, so it sets off on the senior. Cut long story short, finished 4th in it on a stocker.
Well done.
Yeah,
well done.
Did 124 mile an hour.
In an era where like stockers and superbikes were very different.
Yeah. You need to be on a factory bike. Because even Clive said that. He says because Clive at that time was running the Gix 1000 here in BSB.
Right.
I can't remember who we had riding for him, but he says, if I'd known, I'd have brought the Superbike over and all that. But that's
past tense, isn't it?
Yeah, better in hindsight. But yeah, that stocker was like, because DJ had only gone 3 seconds faster than me on his stocker, and I thought, it was the 4th fastest time ever around the TT course at the time. The 4th fastest time ever.
Bloody hell.
It was like, I'd won the TT literally 3 days before, but for me to finish 4th in the senior TT on that bike at that speed was like, that for me was like
a big tick in the box.
Yeah, that was. I love that because again, that's what I wanted and dreamed of. So that was that. That was in 2.
So my final question for you before we move on to the next chapter, which is sitting in the next chair, is what fundamentally made you decide to stop racing?
Well, yeah.
We've got to fit him in as well, by the way.
I just can I finish 2002? Yeah,
go for it.
Yeah, right,
go.
So that was that. Right, so that was that. So that was 2002 done. TT was done. I was like, right.
Part 2 of it.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm joking.
Sorry. So that was that done. So I was like, right. So Andy Molinar rang me up from makes the Manx Nortons.
Yeah.
And he said, Milky says, I'd like you to ride my bike at the Manx Grand Prix, Fathom the Classic. And I was like, yeah, it's a bike. It's got wheels. I'll do it. Yeah. He said, yeah, I'll ride it. Not a problem. So I said, look, my only real thing is I could do with riding it before heading off down Bay Hill.
Yeah.
So he says, right, leave it with me. But that time I was doing the Irish roads, Skerries and all that, and Kells and all that. So he rings me up and says, right, what are you doing on July or whatever? I was like, well, I think, actually, I've got a weekend off that weekend. He says, get yourself to Donington. So I'm like, yeah, whatever. So goes to it looks at the calendar, it's like, fuck me, it's MotoGP weekend. So I looks and it's like it was a wild card. It was the Inca International Historic Classic Association race. So I was like, right, yeah, I'll go and do it ride it there. Yeah, not a problem. It's Donington. Have a good ride on it just before before the Bray downhill. So that was that. So it gets there, turns up. Who's my teammate? Barry Sheen.
Shut up, man.
Honestly, I fucking couldn't believe it. I was like, it's fucking Barry Sheen. Honestly, and he was on Fred Wormsley's one in the same morning. And it was just like, I was like a drunken schoolboy. I was like, oh.
And quickly followed by, I'm going to beat you.
Yeah, no. Well, to be fair though, Dom, honestly, I just want to come off the back of winning a TT, doing fucking 4th fastest time ever around the TT.
That's
course.
what I mean.
I thought, actually.
He's getting a strip.
Yeah, this is going to be all right, this. I've done Donington like once, twice before. So
that does not matter.
But,
You've just won a TT, you're getting a strip.
Yeah, but so again, to cut a long story short, he won both races.
Twat.
I finished 7th and 9th, I think, something like that. He fucking wiped the floor with me.
Class.
He wiped the floor with everybody. It was honestly, he was fantastic. He was unreal, and he was an old man at that stage.
That's brilliant.
But he'd just been diagnosed with the old throat cancer as well.
Yes, aye.
And it was just like,
Not many people have had that opportunity in life.
No. Well, that's
play,
yeah. I just think shit. Barry Sheen with my team. I'm like, wow, that's all right, isn't it? That's a good little claim to fame. So, but the funniest thing, like I don't even know Andy Molinar, but he's he is the cleverest man I've ever met. Honestly, he's like Mr. Tefal Head. He knows everything about anything engineering or metal or anything like that. He's your man. He is super uber clever. Honestly, he's just super so clever. So we're all in the awning after one of the qualifiers or whatever at night. You do sit around the awning, having a drink and stuff. And I just said, I can't remember what I said. I said, oh, you know, isn't it funny how your first lap of the bike always feels a bit, you know, bit vague and all that? And he goes, typical Andy. That's because the coefficient of the expansion of the copper in the fork leg is different to the oil expansion of the 5.5 of the weight oil and all this. And I'm just looking at Barry, and Barry's looking at me, and we're just going,
I'm just making a comment.
Yeah. It was just, honestly, he is like so clever. So clever. So again, to cut long story short, I said, yeah, so I ended up riding that Manx Norton at the Manx Grand Prix, at the 500 race. And again, I was one of the first people to exploit that. You know, whereas in the past, people would just do TT and that was it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I thought, it's 2 more weeks of practice. Why wouldn't I want to ride it?
Exactly.
Why wouldn't I want to ride around the best place in the world, even though it's on a classic bike? So I was at the Ulster Grand Prix. I was at the Ulster Grand Prix literally right as it started. Didn't get back, so I missed the first practice on the Monday on the classic. So goes out, first night of practice, going down past the Crosby pub, seizes up, pulls a clutch in, like, that's seized. So pulls over, stops at the side of the road. Yeah, she's solid, absolutely solid. So again, I rings Andy up, because again, you always, whenever you do the TT, you always carry your wife's telephone number or
something
mechanic,
so
that you can tell if you ever stop anywhere. Just borrow someone's phone again, because someone will lend you the phone. They'll lend you their wife. Do you know what I mean? Let alone the phone. But
I did not know that
one. Put that one in the book.
Let me, number 17. Which house in my pet? Cheat, Lod's going to kill me.
So you could. So I just.
I'm sorry, ding dong. Milky told me.
As long as it's not my wife, though, I don't give a shit.
Okay, I hate one like you.
like medieval law, I have the right. Sorry, continue, mate.
So I rings Andy up, and again, he's dead matter of fact, because he's super uber clever. He can't understand that shit happened. I don't think he could understand that shit happened. But I said, Andy, this thing seized, and he's like, these bikes don't seize. And I'm like, okay. I says, no, honestly, and mate, it's definitely. I felt it nip up, mate. I says, it doesn't seize. These don't seize. I'm like, and that was the end of the phone call. I'm like, uh-oh. And like, again, bearing in mind that
he's a tiny man. Mate, his stature is very short, so like Milky is a big lad, so you can imagine him going, fuck.
Yeah, but I was scared of him. Honestly, I'm scared of him. Yeah,
so wears a trench coat all year round. Like, I mean, he's murdered people. 100%.
So I was like, uh-oh. So I thought, this isn't a good way to start a racing relation. You know, when it's like whenever you ride for a new team, you smash the bike to bits in the first.
Then you're a knobhead instant.
Yeah, you're thinking, oh no, this is not good. This is not good. So we gets it back to the awning, and he's effing and jeffing and all this and the other, and I'm like, yeah, honestly, I didn't do anything. It just tightened up on me. So sure enough, he stripped it down. He's like, oh yes, it has seized. I was like, well, that's what I'm saying, you know. But what had happened is the electronic ignition had advanced back.
Yeah,
and it melted the piston.
Right,
melted it. So that was it. That was my first real thing of riding the Manx Norton around the TT course, because then everyone was like, oh, you're riding the Manx Norton, oh yeah, and I'm like, that's not my dream bike. My dream bike was a RC30.
Yeah,
you know, of my era. I never got a semi on about riding the Manx Norton. It was just a bike with wheels. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Don't get me wrong, they were a mega bike, a mega little bike, but I never.
Would it have had discs?
Yeah, we had a disc on the front.
Yeah,
that was the difference between the bike I rode at Donington. That was a drum brake, and the TT bike was a disc brake. Because the drum brakes are horrendous. They're horrendous.
They're not.
The
magnesium 4 ground ones that are worth more than discs are brilliant. Anyway, we'll continue. Yeah. Why did you stop racing?
Yeah. So sorry. Wind up, speed up.
We're going to fit your son in here, Jason.
So we get to well, honestly, this is the best as well, because this was a torrid week as well on the classic bike, to get to the point where, because Malcolm Wheeler basically paid for it all. Malcolm, he sponsored the payment of running costs and stuff for me to ride the bike. Did a feature in Classic Motorbike or whatever, Classic Bike. So we had nothing. So that was that. So that was the first night written off. Well, I'd written the first night off by not being there, being at the Ulster Grand Prix. So I wrote the second night off. Next night, gets to Glantramon, both feet off the footrest.
Oil.
And I'm thinking, looks down, oil everywhere. I'm like, right, so it gets...
That's standard on one of them.
Well,
isn't it?
exactly. That's what everyone said to me. That's what everyone says. He says, they're not on a classic bike if it's not leaking oil.
There's different shades of oil.
Yeah.
People don't understand that. You know what I mean? There's different shades of it.
So I pulls in at that lap into the pits, and he's like, he says it's because it's breathing so fast. The end of the crank is the crankcase breather or something on the Manx Norton, and it breathes at the end of the crank. So he was like, it's just blowing oil out onto your feet from there. So he says, I haven't put any sponge in the fairings. So he says, we'll do that. So I was like, yeah, no worries. So that was that. So that was that night done. So goes out the next night, all the new thing on it, goes out. I think it's the Wednesday night maybe, or Wednesday morning. Wednesday night maybe. Goes out and gets to Glantramon again, both feet off again. I'm like, shit, this is, it seemed to be just always there, going for the bumpy bit. So gets back to the pits this time. As we're sat there revving it up, you could see the crankcase going as the top half of the barrel was trying to escape off the crankcase. I'm like, then that's that one knackered. So that was 2 engines that I'd knackered in literally 3 nights. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, this isn't looking good. And there's Manx Nortons and there's Manx Nortons. Like the basic stroke of Manx Norton's 89 bore or something.
Yeah.
And you've got a 90 bore, then you've got a 92, and then you've got a 95. Now the 95 was the one I was going to ride. That's the pucker one, but you can't do laps on it. You could do 4 laps and that's it. So up to then I'd only been riding it in the 90 bore, the slow one.
Just to get laps.
Just to get laps in, a feel for it. So we're about to start Thursday afternoon. My dad's revving the bike up outside the awning, because again, you've got to warm up 6 hours before you ride the bloody things, haven't you, to get the crankcases to expand and all this. So my dad's revving it up, brum, brum, just stops outside the awning, and then Andy comes out, what the fucking hell's going on here? I'm like, oh God, here we go. So big kick off, and sure enough, I've missed that session because the dyno, because the electronic ignition advanced, he sacked them off and put the dynos back, the mags back on, but the mag had just collapsed. So we didn't have time then to fix it so I lost that session. So then it come then to Friday. So he says, right, Friday, he says, you're going to have to ride the 95, just do 1 lap on it. And,
that's it.
Yeah, that's it. That's just do 1 lap on it, qualify it, you're good. So I said, right, yeah, no problem. Oh my God, the difference between the 95 and the 90 is
20 mile an hour.
It's just chalk and cheese, honestly. Like an old Manx Norton, it's revving, it's like, whereas that is like, it's like a modern bike. It was just throwing gears at it. I was like, fuck me, this thing's a missile. Honestly, it was like missile.
What were them things that we rode at Goodwood?
Not missiles.
Mine was
Garden gate things.
But they
was lovely. But
I'm only joking with you. But they would generally been. They would have been 90s.
Yeah.
They would have been 90s. You would have been.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's bat fucking oil everywhere as well. To be fair.
But even so, like the build up in a Norton, there's so much torque, and you can actually drive them through. But these things, 95, they are like you can almost.
I'd love to ride
the peaky. You have to keep them right in the power range, but.
I'd love to ride a proper one with discs, because the fucking drum brakes
I haven't had a proper drum brake. Anywho, let's keep going.
So yes, sorry, yeah. So that was that. So by this time, so we get to the 95 Friday night. He's like, do 1 lap. So I'm going through Crosby again. It's like, that's fucked. It wasn't a seizure. It was like a top end explosion. Like just ate itself. I'm like, this is not good. I was honestly. So I coasted to the same place again.
Do you have nightmares about Ali Mulder?
Yeah.
Do you, most riders have high side dreams. Do you just wake up in the middle of the night and think, Ali Mulder?
It was honestly. It was like I was dreading the phone call. I thought,
bet you were.
How the fuck am I going to tell him that I've wrecked another engine?
It's 95 as well.
Yeah, and the race.
Was it something you were doing, or was
it was just
unlucky?
It was literally just unlucky that it just had eaten itself. But that's classic bike racing. That is classic racing. It is like so dodge.
It's class.
So yeah. So that was that. So that was all 3 engines, like, because we had a spare engine and the two bikes. Both, everything was wrecked. All he had literally was a load of scrap. So I gets back Friday night, rings him again, phone down job. not happy, gets back to Yorn, no one was speaking, no one was talking. Everyone's like, right, I'm packing the van, I'm going home, going. I was like, oh, right, okay, well, that's that. Made it worse, it was my wife's birthday. So my wife's birthday always fell on Manx Grand Prix week. So it's the 28th of August. I was like, I'm not in a good place here. You know, bike's broken. She's not speaking to me because it's her birthday and I'm not taking her out for a meal or anything like that. No flowers or nothing.
Life's pretty shit.
Yeah. It was like, oh shit, this is not good. This is not good. So that was that. So we just left. I just thought, well, that's my end of my classic 500 race. So that was it. So he goes back home, gets back up there the next morning to help and pack up, and he's there. He says, I'm not giving up on this, Milky. This was on this Saturday or whatever it was. I says, right. I says, yeah, well, what do you want me to do? He says, well, you don't do anything. He's like, oh, I'm doing everything. So, because he's the brain, you know what I mean? He's the master. So he says, I can't afford you not to be on that start line. You know, he makes the things, doesn't he? Do you know what I mean? The 30,000 quid or whatever. He is Mr. Manx Norton. He is the best man at making them.
Oh, he builds like modern.
Literally on the tank, Molnar Manx. Like that is literally Molnar Manx.
Yeah. He makes a brand new Manx Norton. Honestly, they're amazing pieces of kit.
See.
They are. He is.
At this point, 3 engines in, maybe not his finest work, but
but that's the duress of riding a bike around the TT, because things fail around the TT course that don't fail anywhere here. No, you do a whole season of BSB and a fairing bracket won't break. You do half a lap around a TT course, snaps in half. It's just nuts. The place is so much dependent on you and the bike. It's the true test of man and machine. That's the thing with it. It's just hard on everything. It's hard on your team. It's hard on your rider. It's hard on the bike. It's hard on the wife. It's hard on everything. It's hard on the on the spectator because you're out watching, drinking. It's just it's full.
I was hungover for a bit after my first run. Yeah.
So that was that. So he says, I'm going to make you a bike. So that was it. So he literally, the lad worked all day Sunday, all through the night. The race was on the Monday afternoon, right? The race was on the Monday afternoon. So we gets there. He says, right, Milky, says we're going to Derby. So he finished the bike all through the night, didn't sleep at all, built this engine. He says, all right, it's not going to be the fastest, but it'll get you finished. So that was that. I said, look, and he says, just leave it to me. I says, I'll make sure, I'll get it round. I'll do it, because I felt obliged to. So we went up to Derby. We got a bollocking because there was a noise curfew. You could only start at 10 o'clock at Derby, and we started at 10 to 10. They were going to kick us out of the race because we broke the curfew, the noise curfew and all that, because we wanted to put some miles on up and down the runway. And so then we goes back to the first race that was going on, the Manx Grand Prix was going on, as we were going backwards around the coast road to get to the park, straight out of the back of the van, through scrutineer, and got a dispensation to go through late scrutineer, and got it through, got it on the start line, won the race. Boom. Thank you very much. And that was it. Do you know what I mean? It was so. Again,
and that's why you packed in.
No. So that was.
Sorry. Jesus, wet.
Sorry. Shit.
Don't apologise.
How much does this tape cost you? Hang on. How much money have I got in my pocket here? Buy a new tape if you want.
No, it's fantastic.
No, it is great. It is a great way.
Yeah. So that was 2000. So 2002 was ace. I won everything. It was brilliant, honestly.
Yeah.
And I thought, right, this
untouchable
is
at this point.
I thought, this is it. I'm on the road to fame and fortune here. I'm going to get a works contract. Yeah. Sign here. Here's your tyres all paid for. Because again, at the TT, I won the TT.
Yeah.
I paid $2.5 grand for my tyres, and you're like, everyone else around me is getting 50 sets free, and I'm like, what's going on here? You know what I mean? Who's the mug here? So that I was like, right, I'm not on the. This is it now. I've proved myself.
I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, it's got to happen now. So again, I'd run up a mega bill on tyres through the winter. So I was paying all that off. I had like 3 jobs on. I was in Marks and Spencer's acting as a security guard, stopping scumbags robbing shoes and fucking underpants. Right. I was on a building site at the weekend, stopping people scumbags robbing bags of cement. They're building a new power station at the time. And up by Cycle 360, they were building that. So I was working for G4S, and I was literally in a caravan overnight, and then going up in the morning, going home for 2 hours, having 2 hours of kip, going to day work, just to pay
everything. Bills.
Yeah. And I just thought, it came to like January, and I thought, this is a fucking joke. This is not right. This is not,
Yeah. A TT winner should not be doing
Yeah,
this.
and this is-
We're not being big-headed, but you think this on paper, not even on paper, in theory, life should be easier.
Yeah,
And
so-
you shouldn't be doing this. Yeah.
For 10 years, I'd just given me life to it. Everything, everything for 10 years solid. I'd not been on a holiday, didn't drink. I was literally just totally devoted to it. I got there,
And then nothing was
and
happening.
I didn't have a tyre contract. I didn't have a bike deal. I didn't have a helmet. I was like, this is just
Shit.
what is going on here. So next in life, all I've ever wanted is kids. You know, I'm a dead simple man. You know what I mean? I'm dead simple. All I wanted was a family. So I said to the missus, I says, right, I says, you come off the Smarties and we'll see what happens.
Mate, I'm not gonna lie, right?
That's the episode title right there.
Mate, I'm not gonna lie, right? That took me a bit of processing because
Same, I was thinking-
mate. He's been so complimentary to his wife throughout all of this, and I'm going, he has not just said his wife is fat. You know what I mean? I'm like that, going, Jesus, mate. No. The birth control. Mate,
I thought you meant she was like a drug addict.
no, I just thought like, lay off the chocolate pet, we'll make a kid. You know what I mean? Jesus wept. I'm so glad you hesitated as well, Josh. I'm like that going, Jesus. So anyway, she's off.
So I says, you come off the Smarties, I says, and let's see what happens. Do you know what I mean, thinking that, in my small brain, thinking that it would take 3 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Fuck me, 3 weeks. And then she's like, she came to pick me up. I remember to the day, she came to pick me up at Marks and Spencer. I just finished a shift. She came to pick me up at Marks and Spencer's, and she threw the test thing at me. And I'm like, what? I've never seen one of them before. I don't know what she was looking at and going, what the fuck's this? And she's like, I'm pregnant. I was like, shit, shit. And that was it. So, again, because I'm really old-fashioned, I always said I'd never race when I had kids. I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't commit. I know lots of lads do, and that's their prerogative. And but my prerogative is that once the pitter-patter of tiny feet come along, again in my position when I was having to pay for everything anyway.
Yeah,
I'm thinking, how the fuck am I going to afford this? How am I going to afford to pay my tyres? How am I afford to get shoes on him? It was like I have to do everything 100%.
If you had the job offer, the paid ride,
I'd have torn up. If Taz had come to me that year and said, right, we want you to ride you.
really?
Yeah, I'd have said, thanks, but no thanks. Well, that year, I would have. So,
Yeah.
That year, so that particular year, Archie went to Taz. Archie went to Taz, so there was DJ and Archie on the Taz bikes. Ian Locker had gone his own way, done his own thing, so that gave the Taz opportunity to Archie. So then Chris Dowd, obviously, who Archie Agent was riding for in Ireland, CD's bike was available. So I says, yeah, I'll ride it. But I knew that it was going to be my last year, whether I won everything or lost everything. That was it.
Yeah.
2003 was my last year. Boom. But I wanted to go out on a high rather than a low, obviously.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So that was that. So that was my decision was made. As soon as she threw that thing at me outside Marks and Spencer's, I'm in my uniform, my security guard uniform, and that's it. I was like, right, that's me. That's my end of my motorbike career is there. Right there and there at that moment. It's like, right, that's me, I'm done. And again, like I say, obviously I wanted to go out on high, but that didn't happen purely for the fact again that I hadn't ridden a bike since, so it came to like March, April time. I was due to ride the new 636 Kawasaki through with Nick Morgan, through CD and stuff. Frost was riding it on BSB, so I was riding Frosty's bike basically. But the bike came late. Whenever a new bike always comes late, doesn't it? It never comes. Never arrives in February, does it? So you got time to ride it and test it. It literally arrives the week before you need to ride it. So I hadn't done any riding. So the week before, the first run out was going to be the Cookstown. I was thinking, fuck me, I need to ride a bike before.
Cookstown,
I haven't been bike since September. I need to ride a bike. So I didn't have a bike. I didn't have a race bike. So there was one for sale on the Isle of Man. an old Shrad Suzuki, 750 Suzuki. So the first Derby was on. I thought, I'll just enter, just. So I went round and again to buy it. It was like $2,000 or something. And the fella says, you can just borrow it. He says, you don't need to buy that, Milky, so you can have it. Lend it to me. He says, well, obviously if you crash it, you buy it. There comes the story. Yeah. So that was it. So again, because it was all last minutes, only one set of tyres. At Derby is a unique track that you can ride at one direction one way and you ride at the other direction the other. It's the only track I think in Britain that does it. I don't know whether there's a
Knockhill had a go at it.
Knockhill,
But I don't think on the same weekend.
No, that's interesting.
They had to set it up totally different. So, like you say,
yeah. It was, so I did really well. Again, me being me, what I should have done, I finished second the first day. I should have gone, I haven't lost it. I'm still okay. It's all good. I was racing against brand new R1s and all sorts of things. I don't know, 15-year-old Suzuki. So that'll do me. But I should have just gone, right, that'll do me. But I didn't because I thought, I got second. I could win that tomorrow, the other way around. Next thing is, fucking sends me to the moon, high sides me, snaps me tibia in half. Literally 4 weeks before the TT, 5 weeks before the TT.
Oh.
So that was, I thought, this is going to be my last TT. I cannot sit at the sideline and watch me not do the last TT, my last TT. I'm not going to give up on it. Because everyone was like, don't worry, Milky. Next year, you get it next year. And I'm like, I couldn't tell anybody. I'm like, there is no next year. This is my last year. I can't not do this year. So I went in the hyperbaric chamber. Dave Downey in the Isle of Man. It's the Isle of Man. I think it used to be really massive on hyperbaric medicine because of all the situation in the middle of the Irish Sea. All the divers that get the bends come to the Isle of Man. So Dave was mega motorcyclist, loves it. Marshals, dead passionate. He said, Milky, I'll put you in day and night. So I literally lived in it for like 3 weeks, day and night. So a 5-6 week injury, I was walking on it within 3 weeks. Even the doctors were like, "How the fuck have you done that?" And I'm like,
science.
Yeah. It's how, it's literally my own body was healing it itself. So I needed to get myself fit for the TT. I had to get myself fit for the TT, but that meant I messed the Northwest then because I was due to do the Northwest as a build up, get used to the bikes. So of course then we comes to the TT. I had no track time, rid no bikes, injured. My back was against the wall straight away. And again, my brain should have been telling me something there, saying, look, this isn't right. Yeah. It's not right. But of course, being a racer that we all are, you go, fuck it, it'll be all right. It's
big round.
Yeah, I can get over there. I can beat this. Like we all do, don't we? We all. But so that was that. The bike, because I couldn't ride the bike was ridden in the Irish Short Circuit Championship by Stephen Thompson, I think it was. But unfortunately, Stephen had crashed it at Nuts Corner the weekend before the TT.
Yeah.
So first night of practice, I'm going down past the Highlander and things tying itself in a knot. And it was a ex-Nick Med Crescent Suzuki bike. So it was a good bike. CD had just paid 70,000 quid for it. 2 months earlier. Do you know what I mean? It was like a proper weapon. It was. It was a mega thing. So, so that was it. First night of practice, the thing was, couldn't keep the thing straight line at all. And I'm thinking, is it me? Is it the bike? And all that and the other. So all week we chased the handling issues. All week. But bearing in mind, I had a Super Sport 600. I had a stock 600. They used to have a stock 600 class as well in 2003. I had 2 400s, 2 Superbikes, a production bike, as well as these other 600s as well. I had like 9 bikes or something to try and qualify and get, and it was just mental. It was mental. So I battled all the way through practice week, got all the things. I thought, well, I knew that I could win on 400. I thought I can still win on that. I'll be all right on that. I'll still win on that. So I didn't really do that much work on that, even though I'd only done 2 laps in the previous year and 4 laps of the race. I still thought I could win that. The 600 Kawasaki was too slow because it was the year that 66 but they brought out 600 race homologated thing.
Yeah.
But it was mega chassis, but it was dog shit slow. It just wasn't fast in a straight line. So I knew I was going to be backwards against the wall on the 600. But they brought the K3 Suzuki had just come out again, the next gen of the 1000 Suzuki, and it was a good bike.
Yeah.
I thought, that's me. That was my I penciled that in for definite win. That and the 400, I thought I'm having them too. Definitely having them too. And hopefully going to have the senior TT on the Suzuki. So, but the trouble was the thing wasn't handling. All week we would literally flat out, the thing would just wander, just wandering across the track. I just couldn't keep it pinned. So all week we were changing springs and ride heights and this, that and the other. Came to the last night of practice, it was like shit or bust, so we literally just lifted the back by like 30 mil.
Just to get it there.
Just to see if it would do anything. And it cured it. It fucking cured it. Because what was happening is the thing was just sat back down the back tyre.
Jet skiing.
Yeah, and she was just floating on the back tyre. I was going down Sulby Straight at like 190 mile an hour. It was just wandering on that back tyre. So when I lifted on the front, she was planted. But obviously the trade-off for that was it turned in quicker. So then so we did that on the Friday night. So I literally went to the first race on the Saturday, completely untried, did the first lap, did 123 stand and start. So I was in a good, I think I was running fifth or something. It was all right. I was doing all right. I was like, yeah, I'm in a good spot here. Because I was always a slow burner anyway. I was always
a builder.
Yeah, I was always fast at the end of the race. So that was that. Came to the second lap, down change into Ballacrane, bit quick on the down change. She started to back in on me, so I just had to let go of the brakes, get it straight to peel her in. By that time, as I let go of the brakes and picked up the throttle, she was in second gear rather than first gear with the big box. As I drove it out, it bogged. Just I was like, and again, I went fucking dickhead. I was annoyed at myself. So then, of course, I'm thinking to myself, you dickhead, I'm losing time. But by that time, I was up to Ballasper. I wasn't thinking about where I was going. I was thinking about the corner I just fucked up. Turned into it, went to turn it in, and obviously where I would do, but because I'd lifted ride height, it turned in earlier, caught my shoulder on the wall, bang. That was it, and that was the
moment.
That was it. That was it. What finished it?
So you hit the wall on the left.
Yeah, I snagged. That's the good thing that came from my accident is now there's ply boards on it now.
Yeah,
right.
So there used to just be a jagged rock face.
That's what you clipped.
And I just clipped the rock face with my shoulder, you see, and that pulled me off the bike, and that's why.
I generally thought you were going to make it the first time I watched that. He's hipping this in.
Yeah, I tried to get, literally tried to get back, but just pulled me back off, and it just couldn't get back before I hit the wall on the right, and then flew through the wall and hit the wall on the left.
Punctured lung, pelvis, back. What?
Ribs. Did all my ribs.
Yep.
Shoulder. Broke my shoulder. Ribs. Punched me lung, my spleen, my kidney. Saved me kidney, thank God. And me reinflated me lungs. Obviously pulled the ribs out of my lungs. I lost my spleen. Broke my right ankle and a few fingers. So,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was. But that just shows you that lack of that split second. That's the trouble with the TT. You can literally, you're covering the ground so fast that you can just that one little second of thinking of what's that noise, what was that I saw, what's that I heard. That's why you always got to. I say to all my lads, for the 20 years I've always said, always be thinking what's next, what's coming, what's the problem. As long as you're always asking yourself where you should be, what's the issue, you'll be all right. It's when your mind starts to wander, you think, oh yeah, I know this. It's when,
like you say, you're thinking about the last corner.
Yeah.
And it's almost easier to do on big circuits like that. Like I had a moment at the Northwest this year, and I was so lucky that up into that roundabout, Millwood roundabout, I'd always just use that post box on the left hand side as a reference. And I remember at the end of the Supersport race thinking, I'm so tired, and I can't wait to get off this bike. As I went flat out past the post box, and I was like, oh shit. I didn't even try and make the corners, ran straight on. And it really scared us. I was like, oh my God, you need to concentrate here. So I can imagine it would be even tenfold
that's
the TT.
Again, the trouble with the TT is you're covering the ground so fast. It's unbelievable. It's mental how fast stuff's coming at you. And that's, over the 20 years I've done this job, every person I speak to, whether it's professional, British champions, world champions, European champions, all lads that ride a motorbike for a living, the first thing they always say to me after their first few laps is it's so fucking fast. That's the thing they say. It's just crazy, insanely fast. They can't. We all ride motorbikes because we want to go fast. But that's the trouble with the TT is, it's a double-edged sword. It's so fast. But that's why it can get you into trouble, because you are covering so fast. That's why you can't go so fast without knowing it. I always say, you've got to learn to ride it before you can race it. They're two completely separate things. So in your
Yeah.
first year, you just learn to ride it. Once you've learned to ride it, that's when you can race it. You can't race it before you can learn to ride it. So you just got to, again, as motorbike racers, we're impatient people. We don't want to wait for anything. You know, Jesus, you're waiting for your takeaway. You're like, where is it? It's you want it now. You want it now. You can't afford to wait. But with a TT, you've got to do your apprenticeship. You've got to do your 3-4 years of just taking your battering in this playground. People that you could normally kick their ass around here, around the TT course, will wipe the floor with you.
Because they know where they're going.
Yeah, but so you've just got to do your apprenticeship. Once you've got that sorted, that's when then you can start, right, okay, well, I'm going to start beating you up now. And that's, you just got to be patient with it.
Knowing what you know, after 20 years experience, racing, winning TTs, and pitter-patter feet, you're getting a piss-covered stick saying you're pregnant chucked at you. Did you know this day was coming up? And I'll tell you what, before you answer that, I want him to join us. Pull up a seat. And I'll tell you what, I owe you an apology straight off the bat, because I've just realised I've actually been saying your name wrong. I do apologise. I honestly thought it was Liam. It's not. It's
No, well, Liam is the Irish. Liam is the Irish for... Well, it's basically William, but it's ILLIAM is the Manx...
ILLIAM.
ILLIAM.
Oh, welcome and thank you. There you are.
Thank you very much, boys. Thank you.
I bet you've heard these stories a few times,
Yeah, I've
mate.
heard some of them. But some of them, to be fair, it's been quite nice to. Not all of them, but yeah.
Oh, fantastic, man! But obviously, I think like an introduction. You hear in Alton Park, Stockhausen, you're absolutely howling round today, mate. You know what I mean? He's out qualified, mate. Sod. They are. But mate, you're absolutely. You know that fire blazing inside out. Yeah, the Manx Legend Racing team. I'm so glad you wore your tops here. There,
Yes, yeah,
thank you so much. There we go. And obviously, you've been. Is this your first year in Stockhausen?
Yeah, so last year, well, to run it back, when Mum and Dad bought the coffee shop, we were doing try options, but
Of course, in Jakarta,
yeah, but obviously with that and COVID and stuff, the extra money that you go racing was put into renovating the house and stuff. So I kind of took a couple of years out in, when would it have been? End of 22 to midway through 23, and then Phil Puntley at Manx Legends come to me with. I come over to the Northwest actually to help Jamie Williams out, who Phil used to help.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I want to get back racing. And he's like, yeah, whatever, yeah. And then it must have been 2 weeks after TT, and he's like, yeah, you really need to be back on a bike, don't you? So you don't need to tell me, mate. I know I want to be back on a bike. And then fast forward from that, I think, 2 weeks later, he was off to Ireland to pick up an R6, and then we did the rest of Derby for that year, and then we went away to Anglesey Grand, and I hadn't ridden a bike for over, must have been a good 12 months, I reckon, and then qualified on the second round of the 600 class at Anglesey Grand and stuff, or something like that. It was
Bloody
good.
hell.
Yeah, I had a good run there, and then through that off season, we were all gearing up to go to No Limits on the 600, and then 1411 come on board. And
God, he's good, isn't he? He is good, isn't he? Go for it, mate. Straight.
So 1411 will come on board, and they've helped. So we're going to do the R6, and then they were like, well, the R6s were a bit old. They were all 13Ss. They were good. They do the job, but you know yourself, like you said before, you can't beat horsepower, and they're just old stock R6s. So then they were like, well, let's get a bit. I'm a big lad, so let's get a big bike. So went to No Limits last year and did the full season there. It was all right season. Best finish was third at Cadwell in the wet, and then in the dry it was top 10s all season, so it was okay. And then come here last year to do the second wild card here. I think I finished the first race 22nd, and then in the wet I finished 18th.
Good lad.
And then did the last Donington at Superstock, and then for this year we were like, let's do the full championship, man.
So it's blatantly obvious you can pedal a bike, but I tell you what, what was your first memory of being on a motorcycle?
It's just all I've ever known. There's not.
I don't know. What was your first memory of being on a motorcycle?
probably riding to the skip down at North Lake.
Right. So that North Lake, how much were you shitting yourself?
Well,
like you, hold on,
yeah.
TT winner. You've just watched your boy hop on this thing. On a scale of 1 to shit yourself,
well,
where were you?
It's one of those. Honestly, it's one of those things that obviously I've had motorbikes in my house. You know, I have motorbikes in my house, in my living room, and I did a deal with my wife one time that I'd build a conservatory. Only build a conservatory if I put a motorbike and if I could have a motorbike in the house. So we had a conservatory. I built the conservatory at the back of the house and I put a CBR 600 in the front room, didn't we? So even when he was born, he's been round motorbikes effectively.
You had no chance.
No.
Well,
I
I knew, but the first time I really knew that I was doomed was when, at the age of 3, I think it was, I went into his bedroom, and at the age of 3, all the other kids are watching Teletubbies and Balamory and all this. He's watching TT reviews at the age of 3, like, and I'm thinking,
Shit.
Yeah, but you knew this day was coming.
yeah. I always knew that he was gonna. I didn't want him to. Honestly, Dom, I didn't. Josh, I didn't want him to ride motorbikes. I was quite happy with him just going and playing football or doing whatever kids do. You know what I mean? You know, because obviously, you know, when you're in this paddock, it's full on. You know, like I say, you spend 10, 20 years, 15 years, you've spent all your money, all your wife's money, all your on riding a motorbike. Just we're all mental, aren't we? We're all absolutely bonkers.
But yet we're 4 smiling idiots in the studio. You know what I mean? No, but you know what I mean, though. It
is just insane whether you think, you know, anybody. If you went to a psychologist and says, "Yeah, I spend every last penny I earn on riding a motorbike," they think, "What?
Oh, it's a totally irrational argument. I have this with my beautiful fiance all of the time.
Oh, buttered up, mate. You're good. Mate, you're good as well.
Yeah, she honestly, like, she's a normal person, never been involved in motorcycles at all, and just cannot understand it. But like gets on with it because she like sees what it does to you, and you like, and you think, and it. You can't actually describe it, can you? Yeah. It is like a drug. It is 100% just a drug, isn't it?
We're all drug addicts. But we're all drug addicts, and I always, now that, especially with my job, I class myself as a drug dealer because I'm giving people the opportunity to go and have their drug. Do you know what I mean? And it's just, you know, and as a dad, I don't want them to do it. I love him. I want to cuddle him. Do you know what I mean? I want to cuddle him and look after him. But as a motorbike racer, I want him to go and do the best thing he could ever want to do on 2 wheels, and that's ride the TT. Do you know what I mean? But,
are you doing roads?
That's where I want to be. Yeah,
you can
100%.
see. That's the answer.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? No, it wasn't like, well, you know, you did not. Yeah. There was no hesitation.
Well, from both of you, actually. So
no, to be fair, I don't want him. I don't want him.
I can well imagine
I don't want him to do it. You know, I don't.
This is turning more of a therapy session now. I like this. No, but how does that, like? I can just see it in your eye. You just want to go do it. Yeah. And you're listening to this and you're going, I'm doing, like, I can, you can almost put a wall in, like a blind date, and like, we'll have the same answer right now, but like, no one, there's a question. Your dad's a rider liaison. Do you feel more, not pressure to succeed, but more pressure to be safer because you're representing the family well as?
No, not particularly. The biggest pressure, honestly, around there is your nationality more than anything.
Right.
Is like, I'm a firm believer in the way I want to go about it is, I'd rather wait and race short circuits until I'm at a level where I can go to the TT and finish 45th in my first year, 40th in my second year, and build up, instead of going to the Manx and like what happened with him, someone's calling you a wanker if you don't win, and then you end up off the mountain the third night with a fractured femur. So I'd much rather just wait until I'm at a high enough level to get straight to the TT and just go under the radar, completely ignored, the bottom of the paddock, no cameras, and get on with it and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Instead of a load of pressure on your shoulders, think on a 600 as well, thinking, fucking hell, I've got to hold this flat, but I don't know where I'm going. Yeah. Because you're Manx, and yeah, it doesn't end well.
And do you have any desire to do any other road racing as well? Or is it just the TT?
Like Northwest and the Ulster, if it ever come back, I'd have a crack at that.
Amen to that. You've raised him right. You've raised that boy right.
Well, that's it. I mean, you know, I'm glad. I've always, because he's the only one I've got, we've always treated him like, I'd like to think we've always treated him like an adult. So we've always let him make his own decisions. I've never chastised him on any crap, trivial things like, oh, you're not eating your tea, or you got your trousers dirty. That's all irrelevant shit, innit? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So he's always had an older head on his younger shoulders, if you know what I mean. And you know, I think that always stands you in good stead, I think. And you know, he's not wild, he's not rash, he's not crazy. And because if he was, I'd be saying, you're not doing the TT. Do you know what I mean? That's why I believe that he's able to do it and capable to do it. And again, like he says, I want him just to enjoy it, hopefully qualify, finish last. I'll be the happiest man in the world in his first year.
Just to know you finished one and ticked it off. Like.
Just to do that, and then in 5 years' time, then hopefully we can get a half a decent result. But I always think there's too much, like for me, too much pressure to win on your first year and spray some champagne when you don't know where you're going, you don't know what you're doing. It's mental.
And the reality is, like, you shouldn't be winning, should you? No one should go there and win straight away.
No.
Has it ever been done?
No. Steve Plater was the closest. He did it in his second year of going there as a newcomer.
He was on a factory team, BSB. When
it was a little bit by default as well, because Bruce Anstey had the wrong camshafts in.
Exactly.
But no, not taking it from Steve. No. Because again, I know when we went to see, me and Paul went down to Brands Hatch to recruit Steve really to do the TT, because at that time he was doing the Northwest, he was doing British Superbikes, he was doing Macau. It was like, why isn't this man doing the TT?
Yes.
Why? So we went down to Brands Hatch. Remember, we got the train down to Brands Hatch, both of us. Went there, knocked on his caravan door, came in his caravan, tote and says, look, we want you to do the TT. And I don't think Steve was even that
fussed about it initially
at that time. But we were like, look, it's good for us, it's good for you. It's the next step, you can move on. So, and sure enough, he came. He got on with it. He did his work. We spent his time driving around the track with me in the car, and he was a perfect student. Do you know what I mean? That again, because he knew what it involved. He put everything into it, literally everything into it.
Yeah.
So
and he's doing that now for others as well. Isn't he?
100%.
He was fantastic at the Northwest for.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
So,
but I must ask, are you going to be harder on him?
No, I don't. I want him. I want him to be safe.
You see, I totally understand that, but you know what I mean? It's like, you are going to be 100% with everyone, be it your son or, a bloke from Madagascar who wants to come do the TT. I understand that. But in the same breath, this is a situation.
Yeah, again.
Has it arguably ever happened, this? The rider liaison.
Although Nevy's only got one child.
No, but I mean in history, like...
No, well, you see, that was the thing. That was why that me and Barty basically got involved in doing the tuition for the TT, because there was never anything like this.
It's brilliant.
When I did it, it was like, it was like, just keep turning right, mate, till you finish. You come back to the start line. And after 2005, when that French lad got killed at Braddon Bridge on his first lap, first night, it was like, this can't happen. We need to, the insurance, it needs to insist that they have to go through a training. That's why parade laps and stuff now, unfortunately, because we put all our riders through a training course to learn the track and so we're happy that they're at a level. I know everyone learns things at different, don't they? Do you know what I mean?
Of course they do, yeah.
So everyone's got different learning capabilities and abilities, but generally everyone tends to get to the same point in the end. But you can't not, you've got to give people that help, because it's so hard. It's the hardest track in the world to learn. So you have to, we're lucky that me and Barty enjoy what we do, and but most importantly, yes, I want everyone to go fast, but I want them to be safe. That's the most important thing. I want them to be safe. You know what I mean? It's just, let's say, yes, I want him to do well, which, being a competitive bloke, we all do, don't we? But I just want him to be sensible, use his head, be sensible, and enjoy it. Because it is the best experience he's ever going to. You've not done a TT yet, Josh. But
I'm not sure I'll get to it, to be honest. But
after this comment, all four of them, we're going on the boat tomorrow.
It's the best thing you could ever want to do with your life, and again, that's why, as a dad, I don't want him to do it, like I say, but as an ex-rider, an ex-racer, I want him to do it. I want him to experience the best thing that he's ever going to experiance. Do you know what I mean?
Totally take me off.
Again, some things, it's a bit like Marmite. You either love it or loathe it. Some people just turn around and say, it's not for me. This is just not for me.
You've only got to stand at the side of the road and watch it.
But stand at the side of the road is scarier than actually. Dom will tell you. Stand at the side of the road when you're on it, it doesn't feel that scary, to be fair.
Having followed it for so long, like all your life, and then actually going to see it, and I can't believe it took us so long to go. But 2 years ago when we went, the first place I actually watched was coming out of the Craig.
Yeah.
I don't know why I ended up going there. I don't know who took us up there. Anyway, I went up there and we're like lay on the thing, and I just thought like I've said this before, I would have emptied my bank account, gave you my house to have just gone and put a set of leathers on and do that. It was amazing, unbelievable. So I get it, like I get it 100%, and it is a big achievement. But how you just spoke about it, I think was like perfect from everything you've been saying about newcomers and stuff like that, and it's great that you want to come to BSB as well and do all that sort of stuff first. I think that's good.
Yeah. I mean, we are so fortunate that we've got really good sponsors, you know, in Damien and Phil. I mean, without them, I know everyone goes on about, but we seriously couldn't do it without them two lads. You know, them lads are amazing. They are literally amazing. You know, again, it's just without your sponsors,
your sport does not exist.
Yeah, and there's so many people that are helping us, you know, and they understand. You know, I've just met some people today that offered to give us some money for some tyres, and it's just
class, man.
The whole paddock community it's fantastic, isn't it? I mean, it's like, we were sort of talking earlier. Now, where else in the world does that happen? It just doesn't happen, does it? Do you know what I mean? It's just, it is. We are so fortunate that we're involved in such an amazing thing, and you know, it's such amazing people. They're just, motorcyclists are just.
It's so true. Like, you know, even we were just talking to one of the guys who is part ownership of the bike that we're racing and Chasing the Racin, is here with his family. So like, there's Tim and Matty, Tim and Penny come together, so they're like 50%, and then Matthew's like the other 50%. They're working on the bike. Obviously, Piggy, Dom in the Orton, like Grace is here. It's proper family. Matty's got his wife and his little boy. His little boy's 4, and he's just crackers about bikes. And it's, do you know what
that's the next thing.
Yeah.
No, Joe, you know what I mean?
But it's lovely to like be part. You know, that just makes the whole racing thing a bit sweeter as well. Like that whole community, and it's just like what an amazing place to like grow up. Yeah. We've been fortunate to get to. We've all been fortunate to get to do that as well, I guess. So it is definitely a funny,
it's an amazing place to be, but we're incredibly biased on Chasing the Racin. You know what I mean? It's the world's best sport, filled with the best people, and football's for kids.
It is weird though, because considering who Dad is and stuff, I've not grown up in a paddock because he wasn't racing after I was born. The first time I ever come to a BSB meeting was when I first raced here. I've never been to watch, or even so. Literally, the only racing that really exists for me as a kid was TT.
Yeah.
Because I went to MotoGP when I got a bit older and went and watched with my mum. But I've never, like, you see the kids now that are here watching, asking for autographs and stuff like that. For me, as a Manx person, it was just TT.
Yeah.
Which is why I think it draws us to that more than I want to be a BSB champion. I want to be MotoGP world champion.
It's a big part of your life growing up, like part of your culture, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is.
In your DNA.
I remember, like, at school, like the week before TT, running out of school on my lunch break to see what like trucks had parked up for TT week, then running back to my lessons and then seeing who else had arrived, or like
I love that,
cycling home after school past the paddock and stuff like that. It's just
there is no denying whose son that is. Look at the smile, you know what I mean? Just like the energy is just absolutely class. But I tell you what, before my final question is, what's the plan tomorrow? What is the plan?
Get off the line. Get off the start line. The first plan.
But all joking aside, you know what I mean? I was like, I was doing a bit of homework before coming out, and you're just getting faster and faster, and you're doing it maturely. Like you said, you've got all the head on younger shoulders, and you're just chipping away really, really, really and quickly and nicely on that side. So there's a lot of short circuit in you, a lot. You know what I mean? I bet you're not thinking about the TT going around there tomorrow.
I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, get off the line and see what happens. But I'm just shit off the line. I've picked up his bad habit in that sense.
I was garbage as well. But yeah, no, I mean it's you know, it's one of those things that, you know, at the moment he's still riding the big bike a bit like a 600. He's got mega high. I think it's maybe for me, I don't know, but he's carrying too much corner speed. He's like mega corner speed, and we're riding like a 600, which I mean, we all want to. The modern day superbike now, because it's gone so powerful, is changed that, hasn't it? Whereas in the old days, even on a big bike, you went round the corner fast.
Yes.
You know, whereas now, it's the opposite. You don't go around the corner fast on a big bike now. You just get the thing triangulated, get it upright on the back tyre and go. Do you know what I mean? Whereas
They've just got so much power, haven't they?
They are silly.
Yeah. Whereas all your other bikes that you race for, your 600s, your Super Sport 400s, your Super Twins, it's all about your corner speed, and whereas that's why it's a lot to get good riders on superbikes now. It's hard to get them because everyone's brought up through Motor 3 and high corner speed, and then it's like, hang on,
I think the big bike riding style, because of that, because of all the people that have gone through into superbike now, I think it's a totally unique style. It's like a hybrid, and it's really hard, and that's why British superbike especially is like that. It's so close because, like you say, it's like a mix. Yeah, they've got 200 horsepower and you have to stand them up, but you're like watching, have you seen a photo of a superbike through Knickerbrook? Mate. Which you obviously, everyone's ridden around it here. It's not a big sweeping, it is quite a fast corner, but it's like third gear or something, and they fucking got the elbow like fully on the floor, and you think they're not like going slow. Do you know what I mean? It's such a unique way of riding. Like it's hard to get people to ride that way. That's why I think only the top lads end up going on to do stuff, don't they?
Yeah, I mean your MotoGP as well. Your MotoGP bikes are so powerful, aren't they? They're just mentally powerful, so they need the aero to stick it to the ground and get stop it from wheeling, and you just can't carry a corner. It's losing its little thing of going around the track as fast as possible. You want to go from point A to point B as fast as you can, but you can't because they're too powerful, so you have to compromise the entry to then get the thing upright, so you are going. It's just the getting that powerful that's making it harder to ride them, and it's just getting your head analysed around that a little bit, I suppose.
So. Well, as they always said, be careful what you wish for, because let's face it, every bike racer up to date, it's just gone, I need more power. Now you got all these rock stars getting paid money going, can we take a little bit out? You know what I mean? It's mental, isn't it, how the times turn? But I tell you what, all joking aside, lads, thank you so much for coming on. I've absolutely loved it. The fact I'm still buzzing, the fact that you beat Bruce Anstey around the Ulster. You know what I mean? Now the TT wins, it's like, man, I'm going to tell everyone from here up over. And obviously not too much good luck. If you could let me by tomorrow, you know what I mean? Just let me, enjoy myself a little bit more. That would be really appreciated on that side. Josh, you've got a podium in the F9s, so you're on. And this is the best bit. Obviously in the F900s, the top 6, pull it out of a bag. Would you like to tell everyone, Josh, what you pulled out the bag?
Yeah, Paul. And it wasn't. Do you know what it is? It was the head of marketing for BMW who pulled the thing out, right? And I've got to go and pay him because I'm pretty sure he was looking in the bag.
We did exactly. He did
I did
exactly
the same last year on it. I wildcarded it at Fruxton.
Brilliant.
You did, yes.
I podiumed in the feet race and then pulled pole position out. Never been to the track. Didn't see the bike before Thursday night. I got on it. And then I ended up finishing 3rd in the heat race, and then all of a sudden there's a pole at BSB. I was like, what the fuck is it? And then crashed out the race. Shit myself and crashed out the race.
Class.
And I tell you what, you think you two are bad at starts. Watch tomorrow.
You should.
You're gonna pressure's on.
Today was horrendous.
You've got an hour left of today to figure that out before tomorrow.
Yeah, I know what I did wrong. It's fine.
But obviously, this lads, thank you so much. And obviously, this episode is brought to you by OMG Racing, Lucky Day Competitions, and JCT Truck and Trailer Hire. But our episode sponsor is sitting right in front of us, Paramount City X Nightclub. But all joking aside, there, I'll get the sponsors on there on the YouTube. I'm a big fan of your work. But all joking aside, going to the TT, please stop in. You're literally, it's everything. I hate to use the phrase one-stop shop. You can get your hair cut, you can get a cup of coffee, have the crack, you can get, and all year round is
best burgers and pizzas in all, man. Yeah,
mate, he's welded a ZX6 or ER6 into a post where you can sit down and have a coffee. Yeah. It's amazing.
You can't have that in Costa, can you? I just wanted to create something that's totally unique. I mean, it might not be to everyone's taste, but it's a funky colours and different designs, and I haven't made it crazy bikery. Do you know what I mean? I haven't turned it into Hell's Angels bar, but there's enough bikey little bits and bobs that everyone can see and differentiate. And we're dead proud of it, aren't we? Do you know what I mean? It's just. And
it should be. It really should be, and it's right on the front, on the seafront, right towards the far side. So when you get off the ferry, drive to the other side of the dock of the bay, and you'll just find Paramount City. And honestly, it's brilliant, and you've literally put blood, sweat, and tears into that.
I'm going to do onboard laps as well every night at about 10, 11 o'clock when I finish at the grandstand. I'm going to go down and do an onboard demonstration of how to go faster on TT Plus. So I've got a massive big onboard, big screen and stuff. So that should pull a few people in.
Any other significant dates throughout the 2 weeks that you're doing any events or anything there?
Not really, no, because it would have been our first year. We're just a little bit
figuring it out,
yeah. So it's just a matter of just seeing how it goes. I mean, I feel a bit hard because I'm landed it all on Illy and my wife Liddy just to run it because I'm going to be at the grandstand looking after everybody. Watching.
Can you serve?
No, you're not. Tyres are cheap.
Well, we were going to get a license for TT, but I just didn't want to. You throw alcohol into the equation, it gets even messier, doesn't it? So I thought
security guard days might have to come back out.
Yeah. I just thought, you know what? Let's just run as it is. See, I'm going to serve non-alcoholic beer and stuff like that, wine and stuff. So, you know, if you don't fancy drinking a can of Coke, you can have a Guinness Zero or there are other products available, obviously. So just to keep it simple, really, more than anything. I just want to keep it, dead simple, dead easy, and hopefully it'll be busy and plenty of lads can come over. And obviously, it's class. I'd love to see anybody that's out there wants to come and have a look and have a go.
Class, man, class. And I've said it hundreds of times. I'm going to say it again. Thank you so much. It's absolutely brilliant, man. Absolutely brilliant. Good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, tomorrow. And thank you very much for listening. We'll catch you later on. See you in a bit.
Awesome.
Bye.
Thank you.